The storm hit like a betrayal, ripping through the pines with a fury that matched the chaos in my chest. Lightning cracked the sky open, illuminating Jordan's face in stark white flashes, her eyes wide, her lips parted in that half-laugh, half-scream we'd perfected over years of shared secrets. As thunder shook the tent poles, I gripped her hand tighter than I ever had, the words clawing at my throat. "I can't pretend anymore." She turned to me then, rain seeping through the seams, and in that electric silence, everything we'd built threatened to wash away. We'd planned this trip as an escape, a weekend to unplug from the grind of Chicago's relentless pulse. Jordan and I had been inseparable since freshman year at Northwestern, two Midwestern girls with big dreams and bigger laughs, navigating the city's concrete jungle together. She was the spark, the one who dragged me to rooftop bars and midnight diner runs, her energy a wildfire that warmed the chill of my quieter doubts. I was the anchor, the planner with the color-coded spreadsheets, the one who remembered her coffee order and her mom's birthday. Best friends, that's what we called it. But lately, every brush of her shoulder against mine felt like a sparkler igniting gunpowder, and I'd started avoiding her texts just to breathe. The drive up to the Upper Peninsula had been pure joy, windows down, blasting Fleetwood Mac as Lake Michigan blurred by. We'd rented a beat-up Jeep, stuffed it with coolers of S. More's fixings and ghost stories, laughing about the time we'd snuck into a frat party and ended up debating quantum physics with hungover undergrads. Jordan drove, her bare feet on the dash, singing off-key harmonies that made my heart ache with how right it all felt. "This is us, Alex," she'd said, glancing over with that grin that crinkled her eyes. "No drama, no deadlines. Just woods and weirdness." I nodded, forcing a smile, while inside, the truth twisted like roots under soil. I wanted more. God, I wanted her. By the time we pitched the tent at Porcupine Mountains, the sun was dipping low, painting the Huron River in golds and crimsons. We hiked the Lake of the Clouds trail first, our packs heavy with optimism. Jordan bounded ahead, her ponytail swinging like a pendulum, calling back facts she'd Googled. "Did you know this spot's got more shipwrecks than survivors? Michigan's got secrets buried deep." I trailed, mesmerized by the sway of her hips in those worn hiking boots, the way sunlight filtered through her hair. At the overlook, we collapsed on a boulder, sharing a water bottle, our fingers lingering too long on the pass. "You're quiet today," she said, nudging me.
"Spill."
I shrugged it off with a joke about allergies to fresh air, but her gaze held mine a beat too long, searching. That night, as embers died in the fire pit, we unzipped our sleeping bags side by side, the zipper's rasp echoing my nerves. The air smelled of damp earth and pine sap, a scent that clung to her skin like a promise. We talked for hours, about her latest graphic design gig that had her pulling all-nighters, my stalled novel collecting dust on my laptop, the exes who'd come and gone without leaving scars. "You're the constant, Alex," she murmured, her voice soft in the dark. "The one who stays." My throat tightened. If only she knew how desperately I wanted to stay, to weave myself into her days forever. Sleep came fitful, her breathing a rhythm that synced with my pulse, dreams tangled in what-ifs. Morning broke crisp, mist rising off the river like steam from a hidden spring. We broke camp lazy, frying eggs on a portable stove while coffee percolated with pops and hisses. Jordan's laughter rang out when a gust snagged the tarp, sending it flapping like a startled bird.
"See?"
"Adventure," she crowed, tackling me in a hug that pressed her close, her heartbeat thrumming against my ribs. I laughed back, but disentangled too quick, busying myself with knots. The denial was a habit now, a shield against the vulnerability of wanting what might shatter us. We canoed that day, paddles slicing silver trails through glassy water. The river wound lazy through birch groves, otters popping up like punctuation marks. Jordan steered from the front, her strokes sure and strong, twisting to splash me with droplets that caught the light like diamonds. "Race you to the bend," she challenged, and I gave chase, our boat rocking with effort and giggles. At a shallow bend, we beached on a pebbled shore, stripping to swimsuits for an impromptu dip. The water was shockingly cold, numbing my toes as I waded in. She dove headfirst, surfacing with a whoop, water streaming from her lashes. "Come on, chicken." I splashed her, retaliating until we were breathless, floating on our backs, the sky a vast blue canvas above. In that weightless moment, staring at clouds morphing into shapes, dragons, hearts, fleeting faces, I felt it surge again, that tidal pull toward her. Her hand brushed mine underwater. Accidental maybe, but electric. I jerked away, splashing harder to cover the flinch. She noticed, of course. "Hey, you okay?" Treading water, I nodded too fast. "Just the cold." Lies stacked like cordwood, fueling a fire I couldn't let rage. Lunch was peanut butter sandwiches on driftwood, the sun warming our shoulders as we recounted childhood tales. Hers from a sprawling Detroit suburb, chaotic Thanksgivings with cousins piled like puppies. Mine from quiet Ann Arbor evenings, books my only company after Dad's long shifts at the auto plant. "You were always the dreamer," she said, tracing patterns in the sand with a stick. Writing stories about worlds where everything fits. If only she knew the heroine in all my drafts had her eyes, her fire. The afternoon blurred into a hike up the escarpment trail, roots tripping us into shared stumbles, hands clasping for balance that lingered. As dusk fell, we gathered wood for the fire, sparks flying like stars prematurely fallen. Jordan strummed her guitar, an old acoustic she'd lugged along, humming folk tunes that wove through the twilight. I sat across the flames, mesmerized by the glow on her cheekbones, the way flames danced in her irises. "Play something for me," she urged, and I did, a shaky rendition of Landslide, my voice cracking on the lines about time making you bolder. She joined in harmony, our voices blending like they'd been waiting for this. When the last note faded, silence wrapped us, heavy with unsaid. That's when the sky darkened, not with night, but with clouds boiling from the west. First drops pattered like hesitant confessions, then the deluge. We scrambled for the tent, zippers fumbling in the frenzy. Inside, the world narrowed to nylon walls battering with rain, our sleeping bags damp at the edges. Flashlights bobbed shadows on the ceiling as we huddled, knees touching. "This is insane," she laughed, but her eyes held fear, not of the storm, but something deeper, mirroring my own. Thunder rolled closer now, vibrating the ground. I thought of all the storms we'd weathered. Her breakup with that smug finance bro who'd never deserved her, my panic attack before the big presentation that she talked me through with bad jokes and better hugs. We'd always emerged stronger, but this felt different, a tempest of my making. "Jordan," I started, voice barely above the roar. She shifted closer, her warmth a lifeline. "What is it?" The lightning came then, a jagged vein splitting the dark, thunder cracking like bone. In that blinding instant, the dam broke. "I love you," I blurted, the words tumbling out raw and unpolished. Not like friends. Like everything. "I've been scared you'd run, that it'd ruin us, but I can't." Another boom swallowed the rest, but she was staring, breath caught. Rain hammered harder, wind howling like a chorus of doubts. Her hand found mine in the chaos, fingers interlacing with a gentleness that undid me. "Alex," she whispered, and in her voice, I heard not rejection but wonder. The storm raged on, but inside, something shifted, the first crack in the facade, letting light seep through. She didn't pull away. Instead, she squeezed my hand, her thumb tracing slow circles on my knuckles, grounding me amid the tumult. "Why now?" she asked, her voice steady despite the quiver in her lip. I swallowed, the confession's aftertaste bitter on my tongue. Because out here, under all this sky, there's nowhere to hide. No city noise to drown it out. Just you and me, like always. Lightning flickered again, etching her profile, soft jaw, furrowed brow, and for a heartbeat, fear gripped me that I'd shattered the fragile peace. But Jordan leaned in, her forehead resting against mine, breaths mingling in the humid air. "I've felt it too," she admitted, words so quiet I strained to hear over the downpour. "Those looks that last too long, the excuses to touch. I thought it was just me being greedy, wanting more from the one person who gets me." Relief flooded me, warm as summer rain, but laced with the sharp edge of uncertainty. What if this changed everything? What if dawn brought regret? We talked through the night, voices weaving over the storm symphony. She confessed the ache during our college road trip to the Smokies, when we'd shared a motel bed and she'd lain awake, tracing constellations on the ceiling while fighting the urge to bridge the gap. I shared the journal entries I'd burned last winter, pages filled with metaphors for a love I couldn't name. Laughter bubbled up amid tears, ironic, cathartic, as we pieced together the signs we'd both ignored. The playlists curated with longing lyrics, the protective glares at anyone who hurt the other. As the rain eased to a patter, exhaustion tugged at us, but sleep evaded. Curled together now, her head on my shoulder, I marveled at the simplicity of it, her scent of lavender soap and wood smoke, the rise and fall of her chest syncing with mine. "Promise me," she murmured, "we face this together. No running." I nodded into her hair, vowing silently to the dark. Dawn crept in gray and sodden, mist cloaking the trees like a veil. We emerged tentative, the tent sagging under pooled water, our world remade in the quiet aftermath. Coffee brewed over a reluctant fire, steam curling like question marks. Jordan's eyes met mine across the flames, a shy smile blooming, vulnerable, real. "Morning, love," she said, testing the word, and it fit like a glove long awaited. The day unfolded gentle, a counterpoint to the night's fury. We packed slow, folding memories into duffels alongside wet gear. On the trail back, hands brushed then clasped, fingers threading naturally, as if they'd always belonged. Birds chattered overhead, indifferent witnesses to our quiet revolution. At the trailhead, the Jeep waited like a faithful steed, but neither rushed to load it. Instead, we sat on the tailgate, legs swinging, sharing a thermos of reheated joe. "Tell me what happens next," I said, voice laced with the thrill of unknowns. She tilted her head, considering. "We go home. Tell our friends, the ones who'll cheer anyway. Navigate the mess of labels if we want, or just live it." Her free hand cupped my cheek, thumb brushing my lip. "But mostly, we keep showing up. For this." The kiss came soft, unhurried, tasting of coffee and courage, sealing the pact under a sky clearing to blue. The drive south was transformed, miles melting under tires while stories flowed freer. We detoured through Marquette for pie at a lakeside diner, forks clinking as we fed each other bites, giggles drawing stares we ignored. Her hand rested on my thigh, a steady anchor, and I let myself lean into it, the road ahead stretching like possibility. Back in Chicago, the city greeted us with its familiar clamor, honks and sirens a stark contrast to forest whispers. Our apartment building loomed, shared walls holding years of inside jokes and late-night confessions. Unpacking that evening, clothes tumbling from bags in damp heaps, the reality settled. This was home, now layered with new intimacy. Jordan commandeered the laundry, tossing my flannel into the hamper with a wink. "This shirt? It's seen some action." Heat flushed my cheeks, but I pulled her close, kissing the spot behind her ear that made her shiver. Dinner was takeout Thai on the couch, legs tangled, a rom-com flickering ignored on the screen. When credits rolled, she paused the remote, turning serious. "What if it scares people? Our families work." I traced her palm, mapping futures. "Then we hold on tighter. We've got each other. That's the win." She nodded, eyes shining, and we made love for the first time that night, tentative explorations giving way to fervent discovery. Her body under mine was a landscape I'd memorized in dreams, curves and size charting unclaimed territory. Weeks blurred into a rhythm both old and electric. Mornings, she'd sketch at the kitchen table while I wrote, feet hooked under chairs. Evenings, walks along the lakefront, hands swinging, stealing kisses amid joggers. Friends noticed, Mia from design firm cornered Jordan at brunch. Spill, girl. That glow. Laughter followed revelations, toasts raised to truths unearthed. But shadows lingered. My mom's call from Ann Arbor came mid-autumn, voice laced with concern after spotting a photo on Instagram. Us at the Art Institute, arms linked, smiles unguarded. Everything all right, sweetie? You seem different. I breathed deep, channeling forest air. Mom, Jordan, and I, we're together. Like, together. Silence stretched, then a soft, "Oh, honey, as long as you're happy." Tears pricked, acceptance hard-won. Jordan's family proved tougher, her dad's gruff Detroit pride clashing with unspoken biases. Holiday dinner turned tense, questions veiled as jokes. She squeezed my hand under the table, excusing us early for a drive. In the car, tears streaked her cheeks. I knew it'd sting. I wiped them, fierce. But we sting back with love. We're unbreakable. Winter gripped the city, snow blanketing streets in hush. We decorated our place with twinkle lights and mistletoe, turning it sanctuary. One blustery night, bundled on the fire escape, city lights twinkling below, she pulled a small box from her coat. Inside, mismatched rings, silver bands etched with stars. Not marriage, not yet. Just
Us.
under the same sky. I slipped mine on, kissing her numb fingers. Forever starts here. Spring thawed doubts, blooming with promise. We planned another trip, not escape, but celebration. Porcupine Mountains called again, trails familiar now with shared steps. Hiking higher this time, to a ridge overlooking endless green, we paused, breath sinking. "Remember the storm?" she asked, wind tousling her hair. I pulled her close. "Best one yet." Cleared the way. Under that vast sky, honesty no longer a burden but a bridge, we stood, two women, woven tighter than roots, facing whatever brewed next. Love, it turned out, wasn't a lightning strike, but the steady burn after, illuminating paths once hidden. Yet life, ever the trickster, tested us still. Summer brought Jordan's big break, a design contract in New York, 3 months in a city that swallowed dreams whole. Panic flickered when she shared the news over rooftop beers, skyline aglow. "It's huge, Alex. But leaving you." Her voice cracked, mirroring my gut twist. We mapped it out on napkins, weekends via red ice, video calls at dawn. "It's not goodbye," I insisted, though fear not. The send-off was airport tears and a kiss that tasted of salt and steel resolve. Alone in our bed that night, her pillow a poor substitute, I clutched the star-etched ring, whispering vows to the empty room. Her absence echoed, days stretching like taffy. Work blurred, my novel finally forwarding, chapters pouring fueled by longing. Friends rallied with girls' nights, but laughter rang hollow without her spark. Letters bridged miles, handwritten on diner napkins mailed express. Doodles of cityscapes intertwined with forest sketches, words tracing affections too vast for screens. Midway through, crisis struck. A brutal heatwave blanketed Chicago, power outages plunging blocks into dark. My AC unit wheezed final breaths, leaving me sweltering in a third-floor sauna. Phone died mid-call to her. Storm clouds gathering like old foes. Alone with flickering candles, doubts crept. Was distance eroding us? Had the forest magic faded to urban grit? Then a knock, frantic, insistent. Flinging the door, there she stood, travel-worn, duffel slung over shoulder, eyes wild. "Surprise," she gasped, pulling me into arms slick with sweat and relief. She'd caught an early flight, intuition screaming through wires. We collapsed laughing, tangled on the floor amid melted ice packs, her story spilling. A nightmare of separation, a boss's blessing for leave. That night, storm breaking outside, we reclaimed each other, urgent, affirming, bodies mapping reconnections. Dawn found us spent, sheets twisted, her head on my chest. I couldn't breathe without you, she confessed. New York's bright, but it's not home. I kissed her temple. Then come back. Build with me here. She did, contract wrapped early, returning with sketches of lofts we couldn't afford but dreamed anyway. Fall painted the city gold, our love deepening roots. We adopted a rescue mutt, a scruffy terrier named Scout, who bounded between us like punctuation to our sentences. Holidays blended families, my mom's apple pie mingling with her dad's chili, toasts evolving from tentative to warm. One crisp November eve, at the planetarium where we'd first stargazed as teens, Jordan dropped to one knee amid holographic constellations. Alex, under these skies, real and borrowed. Will you marry me? Build forever with the girl who makes your heart race. Ring in hand, a simple band with embedded sapphire, like a captured knight, tears blurred the yes bursting from me. The wedding was small, spring bloomers in a lakeside clearing, friends in wildflowers, vows exchanged with Lake Michigan whispering approval. Jordan in white linen, me in soft blue, hands clasped under an arch of woven branches. I went camping with my best friend. I began, voice steady, and found the courage to be honest. Now, I promise to keep choosing you, in storms and stars. She grinned, that wildfire smile. And I'll keep pulling you into adventures, loving you bolder each day. As cheers rose, sky opening to sunset hues, I knew love wasn't found in grand gestures alone, but in the quiet honesties that bound souls. Under the same sky, we'd claimed our truth, messy, magnificent ours.